Okay, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about neurolinguistic programming, NLP, and how it can relate to you for the course. If you see me looking down, I was just checking the microphone to make sure it was on properly. Now, the majority of the time when you read about NLP, there's these very large, convoluted books. And basically, they are basically trying to just stretch out something that's very, very simple to understand. Okay, listen carefully to what I'm saying. Your mental state affects how you feel, and how you feel affects the energetic vibration that you're giving off. So once again, your mental state affects how you feel, and how you feel affects the quantum field. Hold that thought now. Now, mental states themselves, they're not just these things that spontaneously occur out of nowhere. You may want to pause the video and get a notebook if you haven't already. Okay. Now, mental states are caused by changes in your physiology. They're caused by changes in your belief. And they're also caused by number 3, which happens most of the time to people, but they're not aware of it, is the sequence of thoughts, images, feelings, and audio that happens in a person's mind, which will create a mental state. All right? Now, anytime anyone thinks of something sad or happy or something that makes them angry, there is a specific sequence that happens in the brain. This sequence is an audio, visual, in a feeling sense that happens in a sequence in the brain. When this sequence is activated, it creates an emotional state. So, for example, right now, if I were to ask you to think of something that makes you really happy, are you doing that right now? Now, while you're thinking of something that makes you very happy, I want you to just stop and hold that image and then find where is that image located. Is the image here? Is it here? Is it in front of you? How big is the image? Is it all in front of you? Is it a small image? All of these matter because the placement of the image and the size of the image that you're looking at tells the brain what is the emotional response. Do you follow me here? Okay. Many times when people suddenly find themselves in a bad mood or a good mood, it's because they're running a certain sequence of images, thoughts, and audio in their minds. When that sequence goes in the exact sequence, it's like a formula, it creates the emotional state. Think of it kind of like a recipe, all right? Every recipe has a specific sequence, and the sequence must be followed exactly to get the emotional state, all right? For instance, right now, I would like you to think of someone that you're in love with, okay? Think of someone that you're in love with or you do love greatly. Now, when you think of that person, where do you see them in your mind? When you think of that person, what body sensations do you feel and where do you feel it? When you think of that person you love, what do you hear? Write them all down because that's your specific sequence. Now, when people are angry, they also have a specific sequence. None of these things are random. So all you need to do is, if you find yourself thinking of something that makes you angry or sad, all you need to do is interrupt the sequence, and you can interrupt the mental state. Does that make any sense to you? I want you right now, think of something that next time something makes you angry or makes you upset, I would like you to monitor your dialogue and monitor where you're picturing it in your mind. All you have to do at that point is you can make the image smaller and move it somewhere else in your mind, or you can change the audio dialogue that you're talking to yourself. All right, so for instance, every time you think of something at work, it really pisses you off, all right? So I want you to figure out or notice where that is in your mind, and all you have to do is just make the image really small. And as you make the image really small, you're interrupting the sequence. And then perhaps you'd say to yourself, I hate this, it's not gonna work. Instead, you could be like in slow motion, like you could talk to yourself in slow motion, or you could speed up the voice. I hope I'm making sense to you guys. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. Think of it as sequences, as recipes, all right? And when the recipe or the specific sequence is interrupted, that interrupts the mental state. Does that make sense to you guys? So you're asking, what does this have to do with manifesting? Aha. Well, a few students in the class are really having trouble visualizing to create a feeling. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to think of something or anything in the past that you think about that makes you feel really good, all right? It could be a candy bar. It could be someone you're madly in love with. It could be a trip to Disneyland. It could be picturing yourself at the beach. It doesn't matter what it is. Now, when you do this, I would like you to take note of where you're putting that image in your mind. Is it in front of you? Is it to the left of you? Is it to the right of you? Is it in the back? You know, all these are very, very important, all right? So take note of where you're putting it in your mind. Take note of any audio that you hear, anything that you hear or you imagine you're hearing. Take note of any dialogue, all right? Take note of any feeling. See, what you're doing is you're getting a specific sequence, a specific recipe that creates this feeling within you. Now, all you need to do is replicate that recipe with something else you'd like to manifest, and you can create the feeling. Does that make any sense to you? Now, for those of you who are already creating the feeling naturally, you don't really need to pay much attention to this, but it will come in handy for you to understand how the mind works. In a nutshell, as I repeat myself to make it more clear to you, everything that your mind experiences in terms of a state, many times it happens in a sequence, a recipe, a code, a combination. It doesn't matter which you want to call it, but the combination, the code, the recipe, it must be followed exactly. And every time you follow it in the exact manner, you'll get the same results. When you interrupt that code, when you interrupt that sequence, then the recipe is interrupted. It's kind of like when you're making a cake. Say if you're making a cake and you add too much salt, or you leave it in the oven for too long, it ruins it, right? So like if you have a sequence in your mind that makes you angry and it's followed by a dialogue that you hear, like say you hear a dialogue in your mind that pisses you off, or someone at work makes you angry, or something about that. By you changing the image, by making it smaller and moving the location, you're interrupting the sequence. By you changing the sound of the dialogue, the pitch of the dialogue, making it go fast forward or Mickey Mouse voice or slow motion, you're interrupting the sequence. Does that make any sense to you? So I would like you to take note of different things that you think about, and I would like you to write down what sequence it happens. Like what is the specific formula for you when you experience these sequences? Now I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible because I find that most NLP tends to really overly complicate this. So think of it as a recipe, a sequence, a combination. This combination consists of an audio, a visual, auditory, feeling, sensations, and they'll happen in a specific order. For instance, some people will hear something first before seeing it. Some people will see it before hearing it. Some people will feel it before hearing it. It doesn't matter. Everyone has a specific sequence. Once you know your specific sequence, you can replicate it for other things, or you can interrupt a sequence that's not making you feel good. Does that make any sense? Well, I think that's enough for you now. For your assignment, I would like you to talk to your friends or talk to someone. I would like you to ask them to think of something really happy, really nice. And then I would like you to ask them if they have an image of what is the image, where is it? I would like you to ask them, is the image in front of them? Is it to the left of them? Is it to the top of them? Is it to the bottom of them? I would like you to ask them if there's any dialogue, if there's any feeling, and then ask them what sequence it's occurring in. And then that person will give you their specific sequence. And once you have that specific sequence, you can insert anything else in that sequence and you can get the same feeling from them. Does that make any sense to you? So think of it as combinations, think of it as sequences. At this point, I'm going to stop the video because I think I've given you a lot. But to keep it really simple, think of it as a recipe, a combination, a sequence. And when people run these sequences in their mind of a specific order, it creates a specific mental state. And this is a trick that you can use if you're having trouble creating a mental state of having money or having something or something that makes you happy. All you need to do is go back in your memory of something that really makes you happy and take note of the sequence that you're using and then replicate that sequence for something else. For those of you who are not having trouble with this, you don't really need to pay any attention, but it is a useful information to have, because when you start to understand these things, you can interrupt your own sequence or interrupt your own pattern. And you can find it much easier to break reactionary habits of being negative. So for instance, if something normally triggers you or pisses you off, you can immediately be aware of the sequence and interrupt the sequence. Does that make any sense to you? So just think of it as combinations and sequences. And once you understand someone's specific combination, you can enhance the combination, or you can interrupt the combination. I hope you guys find this lecture useful. Please give me your comments and your feedback, and please update me on how you're doing. Remember, you're not only paying for my lectures and my good looks, you're also paying for the fact that I'm here to answer your questions on Skype or to walk you through anything you specifically need. So I encourage you to take advantage of that. All right, thanks guys.